Personality and media experimentalist Bibli53 here, and I just found a channel so abject that I have to share it with everyone who goes to my channel because considering the audience that I know I have, which is usually friends and family and fairly inquisitive individuals on the internet that have somehow found something of mine in the trickle down um, before it gets buried by the avalanches and avalanches of gaming content and other nonsense that people put up, and it lacks promotion because of having been on the site for so long. So I'm looking at something here from June 4th, 2015, with my anti-Semitic, dehumanizing, thieving, even ad block enabled. A lot of people have commentaries to make about that, but for the process that I use when I go around the internet, it's absolutely necessary. Okay? So hopefully you don't feel bad about ad block. If you do, oh no, don't watch my videos with ads, put ad block onto. I sincerely could care less whether or not people use ad block. Advertising has become so malicious that it's almost necessary unless you want to feel assaulted by sounds and banners and noise and products and crap. Anyway, speaking of assault, this individual, Face Like a Sun, that I just found on YouTube here, has 50,000 subscribers. Now, I haven't done a commentary video regarding a YouTuber or YouTube channel in quite a long time. Matter of years, quite possibly. And the reason for that being is I really haven't found anything that warranted outrage to the point on my level where I feel as though I have to put effort forward, or at least time forward, in expanding this material or allowing others to see what is going on here. So there's 50,000 subscribers, and this video is the reason that I found it, because this is, big news. Becoming a transhumanist by becoming a transsexual is kind of messed up ideas that are in a lot of ways completely different, but there's some general idea as to what this channel has on here. So for the longest time, CERN and the Large Hadron Collider, which, if you don't know, is a particle accelerator, correct me if I'm wrong, is in Sweden. I would love to go see it personally. It's a feat of engineering, possibly one of the most magnificent pieces of technology, or at least one of the most massive that humanity has ever constructed, so that we can look at subatomic particles and learn more about subatomic particles and things like that. Rendered quite a good amount of research. There's a lot of stuff slowly making its way up to the surface in terms of the mainstream, so people will be able to see what the outcomes are from this kind of research. We're just starting to see the trickle-down effect from that. But didn't you know the Large Hadron Collider is a large satanic device that is used to open a portal to hell? Did you know that Bruce Jenner sacrificed his soul to become Caitlyn Jenner as part of some kind of sick occult ritual sacrifice to brainwash the masses? This individual is essentially spreading psychotic delusions and schizophrenic paranoia. They are doing it in a way that is socially acceptable because they're not necessarily a hate group. They're not necessarily a love group either. Although there's a great deal of talk about Christianity and what it means for God and Jesus and things like that. This individual who runs this channel likes to pontificate, I guess, religious idealisms, in that they kind of go out of their way to speak for Jesus as if if Jesus were around right now, this guy would be able to tell us what he'd be thinking about this and that. So that's kind of his MO. That's his big modus operandi of how he's operating his channel. And obviously it looks like it's effective, because if you tell people that they're Satan-loving, heathenist, demonoid-infested creatures, if they don't believe you, then of course a lot of people are going to want to believe you, because it's kind of spiritual blackmail in a way, personality assassination. This is just creepy, weird garbage. Like, there's some conjecture here about this whole thing, because yes, it is a relatively, stemming topic. Oh, a public figure has undergone transsexual augmentations. Yay. I mean, why was this whole controversy not happening around with the Wachowskis? Like, if I were to go in here and type in Wachowski brothers, you will find that they're the Wachowski siblings or partners or whatever you want to call them, because one of the brothers some years ago, I believe it was shortly after making the second Matrix film, opted to have sex-altering surgeries or body-altering surgeries or whatever you want to call it. Became a transsexual, changed name, and now identifies as a woman. Big deal. Where I'm coming from with this, big deal. People have been doing this kind of stuff when able, since the mid-'70s, whatever. I mean, it used to be pushed upon people, and, human rights issues have been brought into light because of sex assignment surgeries and stuff that happened right after a baby was born, or like a couple years into them being a toddler. If they had, ovaries and testicles, it's kind of like, hey, mommy and daddy, pick one, and then like these kids got together. There's a couple of really good documentaries. The CBC had one on, I believe it was in 2012, could be 2011, specifically about gender reassignment surgeries that happened without the individual's knowledge or without their input. It is because of those cases, I believe, that the transsexual, idea has been put forward to the public and has become more publicly acceptable, because it is possible for essentially anyone at this point in North America, or rather in the world, let's face it, let's take impossibility off the table. It's not impossible to change your sex at this point now. They may have difficulties giving you a penis if you're a woman, but there's like inflating bladders and things that you can have implanted and whatever. Some people think, oh my God, it sounds so ridiculous. What are you talking about, inflatable bladders? Oh my God, mutilation of the body, whatever, blah blah blah. Okay, it's irrelevant. Those kinds of conversations are irrelevant. All right, like, it's one thing to want to give a guy therapy because he believes that he was born an amputee and cut off his own arm in the woods. And there have been people like that's. I'm citing a story. There have been people that have done those kinds of things. No one like this has sprung up to say that it was some sort of occult ritual sacrifice. And is this really what we're calling? Is this really what we're calling now? The public realm of unknown ideology or unknown experience or something like that. This is what we crack those things down to being. Chip away at what could be an opportunity to have a great discourse about human rights or the idea of the self, personality theory, even talking about sociology and what it means to be more accepting of one another and more supportive of one another. Public, private sectors, whatever. I mean, if education and healthcare were absolutely universally free, studies and countries that have done these things, put these things in place, have shown that the populace gravitates more toward positive well-being, altruism, etc., etc., etc. Everyone just wants everyone else to do good. Everyone else just wants everyone else to be okay. Everyone just wants everyone else to be well. And supporting, not necessarily openly going into public with a foghorn and screaming
anything.
I support my friend's dendrophilia or whatever it is when people have sex with trees. There's a word for that. There's a fetish for that. It doesn't matter. Supporting fetishism is an individual thing. The public ideal of fetishism is simple. So just keep it simple. Um, well, unfortunately, you can't. And that doesn't mean just because it isn't simple that it's a cult ritual sacrifice. There's a lot of reasons why I'm sure Bruce Jenner decided to have a transsexual operation to become a woman. And you know what? That doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter, actually, to anybody for any other reason other than this is an individual in the public light, in the public sector, in a situation where they will stand to monopolize and gain from this, like implicitly, like absolutely guaranteed. Is that a motivation to do this? I don't know. Is it a cult ritual sacrifice? Not really, because if you're as like operated on, as augmented as nipped and tucked and tweaked as Bruce Jenner has been over the years, and it has been a trend. I actually honestly believe, as someone who supports augmentation and transhumanism, and would like to consider himself a bit of a humanitarian, in that I just want everyone to be well and taken care of and supported to do their best. That ultimately, when you embark upon a journey of plastic surgery, and that journey may or may not um, encompass your entire physiology, like I'm talking head to toe, and because anything can be modified with permanent results, anything can be done to a human body if you really wanted to. I mean, is it just a matter of time now before this kind of stuff is blasé? So Bruce Jenner is a woman. Bruce, likes to go by the name Caitlyn now. That's not a cult ritual sacrifice. I mean, this is stupidity. Let's just stop talking about that video altogether. Just know that it exists. I tried to keep it up, give you a little bit of a snippet, whatever. But really, though, like, of all the things, like, this is whatever. People talk, pandering, call it what you want, blah, blah, blah. But 50,000 people are either watching this individual sarcastically and thinking, like, wow, this person has lost it. Like, there's a piece that is no longer present, and they're never going to get it back. And other people are just entertained by that. Or maybe some of it is, maybe some of these people figure that maybe it's a joke. Maybe they don't mean everything that's in these videos. I honestly think that it's irrelevant whether it's a joke or not, because when you get into the realm of telling people what to think and feel, otherwise they're morons, and you get into that whole spiel, I think that should be and can be and is basically the equivalent to hate speech. Now, you're not okay. Whether you're white, black, brown, Asian, Indonesian, Martian, Jutarian, Zoogle, it doesn't matter, okay? If you, as an individual, come to Earth or from Earth and someone says everything you think is wrong, and if you're going to tell me that something you think is still correct, you're garbage and you don't deserve to live. That individual, regardless of race, creed, nation of affiliation, or planet, is going to look at you and be like, you're kind of an asshole. You're assaulting me as an individual, and that's oppressive. So if you take into consideration the idea of what oppression is, and you take into consideration the whole privilege of being able to do something publicly, I think also that there should be a means for someone to be punished publicly. Now, I'm not saying ridicule this individual. I'm not saying ridicule this channel. This channel is full of a lot of contentious things and presents them in ways that kind of inspires fear-mongering paranoia. It asks for people to believe in these paranoid delusions. If you don't believe in the paranoid delusions, then what do you know anyway? And you're dumb, kind of a thing. And I think that's overtly oppressive, and I think that actually borders on hate speech, because if you hate, I mean, hate is kind of an extreme, right? Like it's a total all-encompassing thing. It's a total all-encompassing negative. So if someone is taking everything that you were saying about a subject and saying that's all wrong and none of that matters, and if you continue to talk about it as if you still have some idealization to protect, then you're an idiot and it doesn't matter. Well, that's kind of hate speech because you're telling people what to think and feel. I mean, if they were to be from Mars and you give them the finger and you call them a stupid Martian and it doesn't matter what comes out of their mouth, that would be what? That's racism, I guess, right? Like someone from Indonesia, is talking to you about something and suddenly you start talking about transhumanism and identity and personality theory and things like this. And they go, "Hey, what do you know anyway? You're from Indonesia." That's racism. That's hate speech. So if you cut the whole "I'm from here and you're from there" out of the equation, and all you are is two faceless, husks of beings. So you're just these like mannequin type figures made of plastic, and one plastic mannequin, both the exact same color. Doesn't matter. They could be rainbow. They could be made of glass. Envision whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It could be a bacteria and a goat. It doesn't matter. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like that is the core of hate speech. When you nullify someone's position intrinsically off of things that are not necessarily in control or whatever. And let's face it, if you're an incredibly reasonable individual, it's kind of out of your control to doubt the most reasonable answer. So if you believe that you're correct about something and you're a reasonable individual, you're going to break down your arguments or your points or whatever, and you're going to explain them. You're going to think them through with other individuals so they can see your line of reasoning, right? It's all about a da 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 da, and that's why. So if you have none of that process, you're not being reasonable because it's oppression. So all I wanted to do is share with you this very, very oppressive, fear-mongering, paranoia-based nonsense that harks upon the coming of the singularity between man and machine and whatever other nonsense you want to call it. Let's be fair, though. This person may or may not actually have these ideas or notions or hold them seriously to any extent. This might just be a person pontificating to the masses and being simply entertained by the way that information is being handled, perpetuated, or processed. For all we know, this could be not a sick individual, but instead some incredibly enlightened person who just wants to sit and laugh while the most ignorant swarm and agree. Who knows? The internet's weird. I'm Bibly53. Thanks for watching.